It was almost 800 years ago when I foresaw the Flameseeker prophecies. You have ascended and awakened the gift of true sight that lay dormant within you. The moment has finally come. You are the chosen I have been waiting for. While you've been in the desert, the rest of the world has changed. Let me show you. As you know, those who you once called friends have become enemies. Their souls are darkened by a deep secret. The unseen gods they speak of are nothing more than a terrible and fearful race of spellcasters known as the Mursat. As I have foreseen, the Mursat will meet their demise at the hands of the Chosen. Their stranglehold on the lands of Kryta and beyond will be broken. For years, the Mursat and their human disciples have hunted down the Chosen, murdering them to prevent the prophecies from coming to pass. But you have slipped through their fingers, and your friends now pay the price. The one called Marcus betrays them as he betrayed you, and if you do not hurry to their aid, none will survive. Many have already been taken captive. Their souls will be reaped upon one of the 5 bloodstones, just as the chosen you witnessed being slaughtered in the Maguma jungle. If this happens, no magic in this world or any other will bring them back. Of the future, this you must know. Your story does not end in the mountains. Your true destiny will lead you to the west, to the Ring of Fire. Seek the flame, for within it lies the power to destroy both good and evil. This portal will take you to the Shiver Peak Mountains. I know you have questions, but there are some things you must know, and others that you must discover upon your journey. Go now. Save your friends. They will not last through the night.
So I'm sure we didn't need to see that whole cutscene, but I thought it'd be nice to leave it in there as sort of a bit of a throwback to all the stuff we knew so long ago with Ascension and Glint and so forth. And oh man, think of all those plots. I've actually got a million things. I might like edit in loads of little comments there during that cutscene because there's so many things I just thought of in retrospect that we could possibly comment on. But yeah, hi guys, and welcome to another video. This is Glint. Wow, long time no see. Hi Glint. Why are we here? Well, when I was Let's Playing Prophecies, there was one big glaring thing in this mission, the Dragon's Lair, that I completely looked over. And at the time, okay, we didn't, the book Edge of Destiny wasn't out, and we didn't know 100% what Glint was. I'd expressed to you guys my suspicions that perhaps she was an Elder Dragon champion, which has now been 100% confirmed. She is the champion of Kralkatorrik. I'd expressed those things, but we didn't know 100%, and there were a few things up in the air. So basically, this, as you know, in Prophecies, all missions have got bonuses as well, and I deliberately ignored this mission's bonus because it's so weird and just very, very odd. But now, right at the end of Eye of the North, right at the end of all things really, I've decided that it's probably a good idea to show it to you guys because this is all relevant to what we're about to see at the end of Eye of the North. Okay, so this is Glint. I will just tell you guys right now, there are going to be big spoilers for the book Edge of Destiny. Okay, so if you've been watching this series and thinking, right, when he finishes Eye of the North, maybe I'll go read the novels, which I do recommend, as I say. Be aware there's big spoilers for Edge of Destiny here. Not the biggest spoilers, but they are very big spoilers, so watch out for that. Basically, in Edge of Destiny, I'll just come out and say it right now. in Edge of Destiny, Glint dies, okay? She's dead. Come Guild Wars 2, I think it's about 5 years before the events of Guild Wars 2 this all happens. Glint dies. Kralkatorrik wakes up, as we know all the Elder Dragons have woken up, and Kralkatorrik decides he doesn't like Glint anymore, and he kills her, and that's because Glint has defected. She's a champion. She's on par with the Great Destroyer, essentially. She's on par with the Great Destroyer. They're essentially the same. They're both champions of an Elder Dragon, except she stayed awake when they all went to sleep. And she, over that time, kind of decided to herself that she didn't agree with what Kralkatorrik was doing, and she defected and she started helping us. As we just saw with that cutscene, she foresaw the Flame Seeker prophecies. And it all gets a little bit confused with the events of prophecies, and she's still very mysterious because, like we just saw, she told us to take the Titans out and sort of release the Titans, and she said it will destroy both good and evil. But like that itself threatens the world, so her motives are always questionable. We don't quite know what's going on, but it gets weirder than that. Okay, so this episode's mostly going to be about Glint, and I'll explain why we're actually doing Glint now in a few minutes. But the bonus for this mission, okay, before I ramble too long, over here, when you complete the missions, you remember, then I walked through the portal and we saw all the stuff with Saul D'Alessio, and it was all very fancy and cool. If I do say so myself, I skipped the bonus. You can actually walk around here, and yeah, there are these dragon eggs, which I'm sure you've been seeing. There are eggs. Glint, okay, an Elder Dragon champion, has lain eggs. How? We don't know. Did Kralkatorrik impregnate her ages ago? Have these crystal eggs just sort of been laying here since then? Can she reproduce asexually? Who the hell knows? But in prophecies, there were these eggs here. It gets even more confusing, because if we want to take one of the eggs, we can pick it up. And this happens, triggering the bonus. I don't know if I can actually complete the bonus. I probably can. Bonus, defeat Glint. We can drop the egg. We don't actually care about the egg. So the bonus is, and she's actually quite difficult. She's got some really cool skills. She starts fighting us, and in this bonus, you can kill Glint. Like, this is why I skipped this over, okay? Glint dies here. Obviously, in the story, she doesn't actually die. So it's up in the air whether this is actually canon. Like, a lot of people sort of question what's canon and what's not. I really shouldn't be attacking. Oh, see, yeah, I knew it. She's hard to kill. She's got a lot of very powerful skills, and you kind of need to build your build. She's not that hard. We might be able to kill her. But it's very questionable as to whether she's actually dead or not, because essentially some people say that the bonuses in prophecies, they could, like, they act as if the heroes came back at a later date to complete the bonuses, like they didn't happen in line with the story at the time that the mission occurred. But it's very weird, because some bonuses that fit, some bonuses it doesn't. You'd kind of have to look at every single mission in the game to know whether that actually worked out. Yeah, look, I'm gonna have to stop Matt from attacking, because he's just gonna get himself killed because of this jagged crystal skin. You see 100 damage whenever you take physical. Well, hold on. Yeah, whenever she takes physical damage, it hurts everyone around her, so that kind of sucks. But yeah, so it's very, very weird. But it gets even more muddied, right? So nobody really knew whether it's canon. So as I came through here, the first time I was playing the game, I was like, well, look, there's no point. I may as well just completely ignore it and finish off the bonus. But then Edge of Destiny came out. Those kind of vague theories I'd put forward ended up being pretty much confirmed. Come on, interrupt the crystal hibernation. That's all you got to do to kill her, essentially. And just be careful, basically. So it was all up in the air, and then Edge of Destiny came out. All this stuff came out with Glint dying and so forth. But then in the book, Glint has like a really weird somebody interrupt that. Glint has like a really weird throwaway line where she essentially says to Destiny's Edge, who are the people that sort of meet Glint and fight alongside her when she dies. There you go. That's the bonus complete. She has a throwaway line where she's like, "Some heroes have come and tried to kill me before, but they failed." And everybody's like sitting there scratching their head. Nobody knows whether that's in reference to this bonus here. Did we kill her? Did we just knock her out here, for instance, and then we leave and then she wakes up and then she's like, oh, a bit grumpy about it? Did this actually happen? Nobody knows, but I wanted to show it to you. Why right now? Well, we'll see. It's got something to do with these eggs, right? Okay, so we know that she can lay eggs. This was established back in prophecies. Whether it was canon or not, we don't really know. Before we go back to see Eye of the North stuff, I'm going to go back to Drachna's Forge, because what exactly has this got to do with the dwarves in their big fight against the Great Destroyer? Well, you might remember, if you've got very good memories or paid a lot of attention to me, you'll come over here. You remember we could summon Glint, like a vision of Glint towards the end of the game, which then helped us take out the Destroyers herself. Do you remember all that? Do you remember the dwarves who sort of maintained that vision? Do you remember what they called themselves? No? Well, we can speak to this guy over here called Consular Frodak Stillstar, and he'll explain that to us. Yeah, I really want. I kind of question whether I should really have done this because this is probably going to be quite a long video unless I cut out a lot of what we're about to do. But I do think it's quite like we're coming up to the end. I wanted to show you guys some of the older stuff. Anyway, here's Consular Frodark. We'll speak to him, and he says, "Do you seek the wisdom of the great dragon? Kneel here before her altar, and perhaps you will be rewarded with a vision of Glint herself." That's not the guy I wanted to speak to. Is it this guy? We left Thunderhead Keep so quickly. I left behind my favourite hammer. Damn shame too. Yeah, I remember that. No, you're just a typical guy. Where are the people that I want to speak to? I thought they were here. Maybe it's Consular Tronar Ironseer. We'll speak to him. I might speed this up until I find the right guy, because I know they're around here somewhere. I thought it was the guy next to Glint, but they're not. So hold on. Is it you by any chance? Yes, it is. Alright, so he says, "Do not be afraid. I'm sure you've heard rumours about the Brotherhood of the Dragon, many of which are not so flattering. There are those in the Dwarven community who see our connection to the dragon Glint as blaspheme against the Great Dwarf. But I assure you, our Brotherhood is not grounded in the spiritual realm. We are more interested in the, well, practical applications, if you will, of prophecy and the art of prognostication. Please stay a while. Perhaps you will learn a thing or two." So, there are a group of dwarves, okay? Don't forget, the dwarves were on Tyria before the gods came, as was Glint. So these guys are like all pre-god stuff, okay? There were dwarves. There's a group of dwarves which worshipped one of the elder dragon champions, Glint, okay? And a lot of the other dwarves question it, which makes sense if you think, because it's kind of the Great Destroyer versus the Great Dwarf, and the Great Destroyer is also an elder dragon champion, so it's questionable whether some dwarves should actually listen to Glint, because essentially she's kind of the same as the Great Destroyer, which is really cool. I love how that kind of all ties in together, and it makes a lot of sense. But there are basically a bunch of dwarves that worship Glint. And this was established back in Prophecies, right? And they come back to it in Eye of the North. They really do. Now, I'm going to log on to Matt for this, because hopefully I'm going to show you guys this in hot. Actually, no. But I will log in as Matt, so I'll see you guys in a second in the Central Transfer Chamber, and this will all make sense. So I'll see you guys in a sec. Alright, here we are, Central Transfer Chamber. I won't do it since I just edited what I'd already filmed, and it's like 10 minutes. So, in the interest of keeping the video down, I'll do like our tour of the Central Transfer Chamber next episode, which, if everything goes according to plan, will be the last episode. So, this is the penultimate episode of Eye of the North. But yeah, okay, so we'll do that next time. We're going to come up here, okay, and we're going to speak to these dwarves over in this corner. So lots of stone dwarves around here. Obviously, they're not all stone. And you got this guy here, Consular, remember that? Brand Oakencast. So there are more of the Brotherhood of the Dragon here, right at the end of Eye of the North. It's fantastic. And you can see there's records. That's because this is one of the... there's 2 challenge missions in Eye of the North, and this is one of them. The reason why I'm on Matt is because I did a test run of it earlier, and I almost beat the daily score, and that was just on Peter with crappy heroes. So I'm wondering if maybe I can beat it on camera. Fingers crossed we'll do it. Anyway, so we'll speak to this guy.
There's much to do.
And Arenanet actually come back to this story of the Brotherhood of the Dragon. Look, the Brotherhood of the Dragon is in dire need of help, my friend. Glint calls to us, for the destroyers have risen to threaten even her. Her offspring are in danger. Yeah, so there you go. That's how it all ties in together. What challenge am I facing? Destroyers pour forth from the soil like cicadas waking from a deep slumber. The dragon child is safe inside a fortress, a tiny shard of sand within the massive crystal desert. Some of our Brotherhood have taken to the walls to defend it. They await your arrival. Hold out until all the destroyers are defeated.
Hail, human.
Okay, do you have any advice? The destroyers adapt quickly. Should they discover that one of their kind is not strong enough to overcome our defenses, I fear they will counteract. Be prepared for anything.
Hail, human.
Okay, brilliant. I'll take care of it. And we come to Glint's challenge. We go back to Glint's lair right at the end of Eye of the North. You get the old loading screen. It's a brilliant little throwback to Prophecies, if you ask me. And you get all of these guys. Check it out. We're back in Glint's lair somewhere. You get this amazing thing here. Not an area we were in Prophecies, but we're definitely in this shard of sand again. And the destroyers are attacking. So you've got lots of dwarves around here. Something very fun, by the way, to do in this challenge mission. We're going to be attacked. It's basically just King of the Hill. Defend. Something quite fun is to try and see how many of these you can keep alive. And they say stuff like the Great Dragon will be proud of us this day, and watch out this whole video for different things that they'll say, because there are quite a few things. Anyway, so our goal is to protect the baby dragon at all costs, survive as many waves of attacks as possible. And here you go, look, there's a little mini Glint. Okay, so why did I spoil Edge of Destiny for you? Essentially, what's going to happen here is there are different waves in this mission. Where lots of different destroyers attack. For this first wave, a really good advice if you've got 2 people playing is have one person come up this hallway here that I'm in, and the others go up the other hallway. You can like split 4x4, and you can clear this first wave very, very quickly. It's a challenge mission, so people have figured out how to do it very fast a lot of the time. But in any case, so we'll continue on. So why did I spoil Edge of Destiny for you guys? It's because Glint dies in Edge of Destiny, but I get the feeling, particularly on the forums, a lot of people forget the Glint's got offspring. Yeah, it only looks like there's one baby dragon, I'll give you that. But she's got offspring. There are baby dragons around. So Glint might not be down or out. Maybe in Guild Wars 2 we'll learn more about this baby dragon here. Maybe this is the only one that survived. But Glint herself, she's not essentially gone completely, because like she will live on through these. So very interesting to think of. Like, obviously, Kraukatorek hated Glint, and he got his own champions later on. Obviously, we've seen the Shatterer is another one of those champions. We've seen the Shatterer in some of the demos. That's the guy that essentially replaced Glint. It's interesting to think of what maybe this baby dragon's role could be in the game. Because it's really good. I love the way that Arenanet did this, because what they originally did when they released the Movement of the World, this big, long, like, massive wall of text that explains all the various things that have happened. They said that Kunavang and Glint, right, the two established dragons already in Guild Wars lore before they introduced this concept of the Elder Dragons, these big bad guys for the next game. Basically, what they said was that Kunavang and Glint were as different to the Elder Dragons as day and night, and they just completely turned away all association between those guys. So I have to wonder whether they were just trying to throw players off the scent, or whether there's been a bit of a minor retcon where they essentially then turned around and said, oh no, look, Glint is actually related to Kraukatorek. So maybe Kunavang's related to the Deep Sea Dragon as well. I mean, I think I've mentioned that before in the Let's Play. So it's interesting. I don't know what will happen with the baby dragon. Obviously, Primordus, this is Primordus acting here, essentially, doesn't like the fact that there's this baby dragon, and doesn't like the Glint. You should understand that the Elder Dragons aren't necessarily all allied with one another. They just merely like coexist with one another, and they will fight each other if they have to. And this is like your first example of that happening. Here we've got one Elder Dragon fighting the forces of another, essentially. Although admittedly it is a defective Elder Dragon sort of champion, so he's not directly fighting Kraukatorek. But it's very interesting that Primordus, or the Great Destroyers, essentially turned around here and said, yeah, I want to directly assault this dragon. We know that Glint had the power of prophecies and potentially seeing the future somehow, although you could argue that she was just manipulating the players for her own end, and she didn't really know anything. But if you do accept that maybe she did know real prophecies, like the Flameseeker prophecies, then maybe we can assume that the Great Destroyer can do something similar, and he knows that this dragon will be the downfall of maybe Kraukatorek or Primordus himself later on. Very interesting. What do you guys think? I mean, there's so much to think about, like, with what relevance this has actually got for Guild Wars 2. I love how Arenanet did basically do that, because they brought out Eye of the North, introduced all these new stories to the players, pretty much fobbed off some of the existing, or seemed to fob off some of the existing lore that they'd established for the game. Like, they basically said, hey, no, ignore Glint and Kunavang. We said they were powerful at the time, but they're not really. But then at the end of Eye of the North, they said, no, don't worry, we haven't forgotten about Glint. She does have a role come Guild Wars 2. Who knows what that role is? We certainly know a lot more now that the Edge of Destiny's come out, and we can read that and learn a lot more about Glint. But this baby dragon isn't mentioned at all in Edge of Destiny. We just don't. I mean, now you guys know everything. You're up to par as far as Glint now. I've told you everything to do with her. So very interesting. What do you think will happen there? I mean, it's very, very interesting to me. I'm really not sure what will be going on. Anyway, we're now in wave 2. How this challenge mission works is you get waves of destroyers assaulting you, and you need to hold out against the waves. You see how my time elapsed has increased again? So to score really highly against other players, you just need to kill everything the quickest as possible. So obviously there are limitations to that, but that's basically how this mission works. Just kill as fast as you possibly damn can and see what will happen. So we're on 343. Today's high score is 2667. I played on Peter before filming this, just to sort of get familiar again with this mission, and I got like 300 or something, so I was really close, and with a crappy build, so I'm wondering if maybe this build will be a bit better. I'll describe what the different waves do, but essentially they're mostly the same. The first wave, yeah, like I say, they're very, very weak destroyers essentially in the first wave, but there's just a lot of them. So you can like let them all ball up at the gate if you've got a lot of AoE, and then just blast them all down, or you can do the 4-4 split like I just said, and see how that goes there. Are you guys going to get moving? See, but you don't overextend too far. This wave's not too bad. This wave's very similar to the first wave, except that you get less destroyers, just a lot more powerful destroyers. But it's still... See, look, some are attacking from the other side there. But so I wouldn't go too far out, though. I mean, whenever I used to play this with other players, I wouldn't split too badly with it. But being a challenge mission, just with... Nightfall, with those challenge missions, you could get hero armor for completing the challenge missions. It's the exact same for this challenge mission. You actually can get dwarven armor for the challenge mission, which hopefully I will be showing off. So fingers crossed on that. Hopefully that should be happening. I'll show you all of that off. One thing that I did always want to see with dwarven armor is I wanted Ogden's dwarven armor to be like the stone version of himself, as if he'd undertaken the ritual. That would have been so cool, but it never happened, so that's a little bit of a shame. But yeah, I mean, this is a long mission. The reason why I say I don't know whether this video will actually get that long is that I'll probably speed up a lot of these waves, because it's just going to be me here standing around just completely swinging my side. I mean, there's a lot to talk about, like, to do with this whole glint thing. Like, another thing to bear in mind is with the dwarves is if you actually go back and watch the first ever trailer they did for Guild Wars 2, it talks about how the dwarves knew of Zaitan in their legends. So don't forget that the dwarves are a pre-god race, okay? So and they obviously know a lot about the Elder Dragons, because they knew about Glint. They were frowning on people worshipping Glint, and I guess that's because they knew that what Glint really was, like being an Elder Dragon champion. So they knew these things. They knew about Zaitan. It seems very much that maybe, I think one of the plots in Guild Wars 2 might be, particularly if you join the Dermond Priory, I think it will be you have to find one of the remaining dwarves sort of somewhere in the depths who's still fighting Primordus's minions or something, and you would go there and you'd have to seek the dwarves to find out information about the Elder Dragons and how maybe they... Because the dwarves could have been there the last time the Elder Dragons were alive, and they could have been like one of the only races that survived. But I like the idea that the Seers were there as well, but they kind of got wiped out, or maybe the Massart somehow got in the good books with the Elder Dragons. Although I'm not sure if that's possible, because the Elder Dragons is just hungry elemental forces. They're intelligent, but they can't be reasoned with, so I don't know whether... But then again, we don't know much about them, the capabilities of the Massart either, so... I'm only talking about the Massart right now because we just watched that whole cutscene and it's reminded me of them, and they're so see, this is what I like, right? Just filming this video, it just, the fact that we had all these kind of storylines crossing over and how they're all kind of significant and how sort of deep the world really is, if you think about it. All these different plots and stuff that actually end up do in some way tie up together. Very cool. I love the way that they sort of established the dwarves as this race that do know a lot, essentially, about... I mean, this ritual, like I said, it kind of gets ruined a little bit in the story. It doesn't make it look too good. But the dwarves are essentially a race that knows a lot about the Elder Dragons and could potentially be insanely powerful allies for us, because they would know how to put them back to sleep, for instance, or to defeat them completely. But... And then Arenanet, but then they say, oh no, but now the dwarves are extinct, essentially. That's so cool. I love the way they do that. Anyway, there you go. That's wave 2 defeated. We're now on 583 points. No one's even come close to the baby dragon, as you can see. Lots of scouts still alive. A few of them die. There's always 2 stood sort of near the entrances, and they always die for me. Wave 3, if this is the one I'm thinking of, instead of them attacking you from paths, they now just spawn all around. Yeah, they do. See this Destroyer of Hope? So, like, for instance, this is why one of the reasons why I don't like running out with wave 2 and splitting up, because as soon as it ends, you need to get back here sharpish. Otherwise, they'll just spawn right next to the baby dragon and completely destroy you, and completely destroy the dragon. Slowly, they'll more and more of them will arrive. It's not too bad though. This wave, like, if you read about it on Wiki, it makes it sound really dangerous and bad, but I've never had much trouble with it. Just stay near the dragon and just watch out. You'll see if you're watching my compass. And yeah, I'm using the compass here because I want to try and break the daily record. I think that'd be awesome if we actually got that on the Let's Play. So hopefully we'll do it. I think we're doing okay for now. I mean, the score doesn't look too great at the moment, but it's not too shabby. But yeah, now that these things start spawning like this, that kind of becomes a theme in the later waves. There's 6 waves to take out. The last one's just a few bosses, but and the next one's just the same as like wave 2, really, as far as I can see. But the wave 5, why am I talking about this so soon? Well, we'll see with wave 5. They start spawning behind the dragon as well as attacking normally. So that one's like the more worrying one. The biggest tip I can really give you for this mission is if you're going to be playing all with heroes, as you can see I am here, a massive thing, make sure, you'll see that I've got my passive now, this stout-hearted passive. Make sure you've got your Dwarven title up and the passive enabled. Make sure you do it, because that's not just going to make me, you see how it's only 7 health that I steal whenever I use the skill. It's only 7 health, I'll give you that. But That, if you activate on yourself, it will also activate on all of your heroes. So that's going to be 7 health for all 8 party members every time they use a skill. It really, really not only helps you kill a lot faster, but it helps you survive for a lot longer as well. So do watch out. I'm just kind of running around like a headless chicken here, aren't I? So yeah, it's a brilliant, brilliant ability. I would really recommend it if you're going for this. And this is the kind of mission where people like continuously do a lot because it's quite good for destroyer cores. And destroyer cores, now that we're at the central transfer chamber, we can use those for something, which I'll be showing you, as I say, next video when we do that tour. Okay, so, oh god, we're probably on like 22 minutes at the moment. What I'm going to do is speed it up or cut it until the end of each wave. And I'll probably get back to you when we're fighting the bosses at the end. So I'll see you guys in a second. There you go, that's wave 3 down, 340 points. The next one's just going to be the same as wave 2, so... That's wave 4 defeated. As I said, no difference there on wave 4. Yes, next wave, wave 5. This is the one where they'll attack from here, and they'll attack from here, and every now and then a Destroyer of Lives will spawn around the dragon. So just keep an eye on your compass. They're nice enough to ping whenever one appears, which is cool. But just keep an eye on your compass, and you should be fine. See, we're now on 1,300s. It's not actually that high. I'm not sure whether we'll break the record. I'd like to. The reason why you might have heard me stutter at the start earlier there about being in hard mode. The reason why somebody actually recommended, because I mentioned hard mode last video, and I was like, when was the last time? We did go into it once when I got to level 20 and we were at the Fisherman's Haven when we had to say goodbye to Charlie. I did go there once, but we've never actually completed anything in hard mode. So I did get a suggestion. Hey, why don't you complete this in hard mode? Which sounds cool. There you go. Look, there's the Destroyer of Lives. But the reason why in the end decided not to is because if it's obviously in hard mode, it's harder, funnily enough, and it's harder to get through the daily record. So yeah. But yeah, just watch out for these, and this wave's just as easy as the others, or just as hard depending on how well your team's been doing. There we go, that's wave 5 down. Yeah, I don't know whether I'm going to get this or not. I can't remember how high I was at this point before. Anyway, so this is the last wave coming up here. You're just going to get 4 bosses. They're not that powerful, really. I mean, they're nothing like the Disc of Chaos or anything, which we saw last video. They'll trickle in one by one, though. You get 2 from the left, 2 from the right. With like waves like this, I'm really not sure how you're supposed to go super fast in order to be able to just absolutely ace the mission and go really quickly. I guess the organised teams, once again, would split here at the end to like finish it up. Thing is, like, it's easier to get daily scores now. Like, this is the one advantage of the game dying. It makes it easier just for regular people like us to go through and actually get scores here rather than, you know, needing full guilds full of people. I mean, like at Halloween they had that challenge mission, and in the end it actually turned out a fair few people getting high scores on that. We're doing it with teams full of people, full of heroes, rather than just teams full of actual people, which is really cool. Anyway, come on, die. These are actually taking a fair bit longer to kill than I was expecting them to, but there you go. See, look, they just take ages to get here. See, if you'd split, we probably could have won by now. Oh, in just 1 minute. Yeah, we got the Heart of Destruction. I remember the first time I did this, it was actually quite hard. Destroyers aren't as threatening as they used to be. I do wonder what they'll look like in Guild Wars 2, though. I don't think we've seen any in-game images of Destroyers in Guild Wars 2. I hope they look cool. I don't know whether we'll see any, really. I mean, there are a few blog posts. Ah, see, we missed it. That was about the same as what I got when I was playing as Peter. Oh, well, there you go. 2,200. Give it a crack, guys. You know, tomorrow it could be even lower than 2,600. I don't know how hard it is to get that last little bit there, but there you go. Right, so that's this is a Glint's challenge. It's a cool little challenge mission. You get a quest, you get a chest. Sorry, God, I can't speak today. At the end, which you can click to get a destroyer core and a cloth of the Brotherhood, which will give your heroes fancy new Deldrimor armor. So pretty cool. What do you think of the baby dragon? I mean, it's just it's insane, isn't it? I have no idea what will happen. They could take it in so many different directions, but there is still a baby dragon out there somewhere. It probably won't be a baby in 250 years. So yeah, I mean, who knows? You guys let me know what you think. And that's the end of this video. As I say, tomorrow, oh man, is tomorrow really going to be the final episode? I think it probably is. We'll have a tour of this. We'll do the final mission, and we'll do the end stuff. A lot of you have been talking about the Pale Tree. Do not worry. I did mention when we were in the Tarnished Coast before, we'll be seeing it at the end. That final cutscene, there's just so much to sort of talk about. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and I will see you tomorrow for the big one. I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Have fun, take care, and I'll see you later. Wab? No, not Wab. Wave. There we go. See you next time, guys. See yous.